It is Cinnamon Cooney, your art Sherpa, and today we are doing the sister piece to our pirate ship boat. We're going to be doing our fairy in a jar. I'm so excited about her. She's going to be a lot of fun to do. If you check at the description below, there's a link to our website where the free traceable is. If you're not really confident at drawing yet, I highly recommend using it. It isn't cheating and it is helpful. If you're ready to freehand it, we have all that extra information there as well. I don't know. I'm ready to get in. I'm ready to get in.
I'm ready
You guys
too.
ready to get in? It's an evening show. I kind of am ready to get into my paint, get my groove on.
I'm ready.
All right, come on, guys. On the mic is John.
Hi, guys.
John is going to help me with this venture by putting up with the fact that I forgot to introduce him on an evening show.
Hello.
And what he does is he tracks me with cameras. You saw when I did that twirl there, he like makes sure the camera catches that, and then he frames that so you can see both paintings. So when I take the matching painting to this one away, oh no, you guys, can see what's going on there, and then he'll zoom in and reframe. So this is a 10 by 10 surface. I have a canvas unpainted, ready to go here. Over here we have our materials, if you want to look at these real quick. I've got phthalo blue, yellow ochre, burnt sienna. This is carbon black, but you could use Mars black, titanium white. And for kind of the fluid painting, I've got the Deco Art Americana in black and white. So pretty simple materials list, I would say, this evening. Like just chiller than usual. This is like the 10 by 10 pre-stretched. And we have wishes on here, wishes and intentions as we like to have. So we have a cure for crowns, love and compassion for everyone. I think the world could use a little bit more of that, a little bit of love and compassion for not only ourselves, but other people, just who maybe live differently than us or think differently than us. A little bit of extra room for that. Healing for Charlotte's eye, and then a new home for the Coonies. I had to put that one in there, babe.
Yeah.
So when I put wishes, I'm doing it every time now. When I put wishes on the canvas, I use a watercolor pencil, and that way I can kind of wash them into the universe and let them go where they need to go. So I'll just give those a little vanishing point here. Boom, boom, boom.
Just blend them out.
Blend them out. Now for the background, the first part of the background, I'm going to put out yellow ochre. You can also use yellow oxide. Frankly, they're just interchangeable. And I'm also going to put out some burnt sienna. Probably more than I needed there. Got a little excited with my burnt sienna. And I'll put here a little bit of black. And then next to it we can say, oh, a little bit of white. And I'm not going to bother putting my blue out till I'm ready to use it because there's no need to have it dry, on the surface. I am going to grab a nice big brush. This is a number 30 short handle. And I'm going to drag off the extra water, dragging it off. And I'm going to come get a bit of the white into the edges of the brush. And you can see I get that into the oxide, and it just makes a lighter color. And let's come here and just go back and forth in this little curved brush stroke. See how we're doing? It's reminiscent of what we did on the first one in the pirate ship space. So I thought that it would help pull those two together just a little bit. Going along. Make sure I get those. Now, a trick that you may want to do, because we're doing this on stretch canvases instead of boards, is to be sure and paint the sides.
Oh, yeah.
Nice way of finishing the work, especially if you're not going to frame. If you are going to frame, this is not necessary. But if you're not going to frame, it's probably a good idea. And people have certainly gotten into the habit of it lately. Actually, it was initially done for something called a gallery wrap, which was the first ones that were wrapped around the back, but the stretchers were much thicker. That's the bars, the wood bars. Now I'm going to just get some burnt sienna here. And where these two kind of meet, I'm going to just brush them back and forth. See how I'm doing? And how I get these little different levels of blend is if I press real light, a very small amount of the pigment will come off. And then as I press harder, look, more comes off. So that's how we get those little soft, airy bits. I'm going to go ahead and add some of that around them edges. It's always good. They don't want to get in the way
Now,
of the camera.
there's a question about water usage.
Yes.
Is it okay to use water when using acrylic paint? There seems to be some question on whether or not that's a thing to use.
So there's some misinformation out there about water and its relationship to acrylic paint, and it's based in something that's true, but really misunderstood. So what it is yes, acrylic is made to be thinned with water, and each company will tell you the percentage. Like a good professional heavy body paint is usually about 30% you can thin it with water. Now, as a purist, somebody who's painting for museums or galleries, who's looking for the most archival, forever possible potential result with no like mineral in there. I mean, it's like really
No
like, you know how some people get into wine, it's like that. You would use medium because there's no risk of the paint breaking down if you use the proper medium, but you could put water into it and get something called underbinding. But that would be when you were using the acrylic in the way that you use watercolor on canvas. You could, however, do it just fine on paper. So it's just people not really getting deep into their medium, getting really into it and be like, what all can it do? So that's the facts behind that. And so, yes, you can use plain old tap water. It's okay. So I've added a little black, if you guys have noticed, to the burnt sienna. And that's kind of giving it a richer color, isn't it? A little aged, and I'll come through and you can see me sort of blending and fading and making a nice little transition. Now, this is towards the edge of my surface, so it's harder to get to, but I don't got to be stressed about that because I'll just flip it over. Painting those little edges. So yeah, there is a lot of, every once in a while run into somebody who strongly believes you can't use water on acrylic paint.
And it's okay.
But, the son of the inventor of acrylic paint is pretty sure you can. So let's just go with what he says. Because if you couldn't, it would be on his tubes.
Yes, true.
And he would be out about educating about it, as would his company. I'm just saying. The inventors, really wanted something that would be water-based and easier to thin and dry faster. They were trying to solve some problems for some oil artists. Who were in the modern movement. So they came up with this idea, to take this house paint idea and, turn it into an artist. All right, I'm just being mindful and enjoying my evening paint. I could speed along a little faster, but
you got a nice little blend there.
Getting my nice little blend. Now, to do the traceable, it's super important that the surface be dry. So I'm going to dry it. John's going to talk to you a little bit. I would love, let's see, because John usually tells you about color shift, but tonight, let's John tell you about the video game arcade on the website.
Oh, okay. So that's interesting and kind of impromptu. She buried the headline. So what she doesn't know is, while we have this brand new thing out there, I think it's TheArtSherpa.com/games. And for you guys who go out there right now, you'll find it. It's in beta. It's not supposed to be open. We're going to be updating it with a working scoreboard and thing like that, so that when you log in, the games, right now there's only one up there, the games will save your high score on the website, so you can see who's got the highest score. And I mean, a little Sherpazoid throwdown in the arcade never hurt anybody. So,
did I give you a hand giving you a topic, babe?
Well, you sort of like outed me. We have the beta arcade up there, which is there.
Playing it.
Well, yes, but you've not been playing it with the working billboard, and that's not up yet. So that's why I wasn't telling anybody about it, because it's not up.
Oh, sorry. Well, we have an arcade. It works. It's fine. I don't know what he's talking about. I'm proud of it because my daughter did the artwork on it.
Her first game. That's right.
It's her first game, so I'm having a mama moment, and it's been going well. So I'm excited. I don't know why it's just not out there for everybody yet. No, just kidding. Because my baby's a genius. She really is, though.
Yep.
And now it's on video, so no matter what happens, she can always come back to me because it says, my mom says I was a genius, because she is. She's so smart, so clever, so talented. So this is what I refer to as a traceable. These are the line drawings that I do when I'm creating this. I don't just well, sometimes I do just freehand and paint, and she may have been a freehand, but a lot of times I'll do sketches, and I will do little designs, and those turn into these images here that we call traceables, so that you can use something called Sero paper, which is in the description. You want to make sure you put it the white side down, and a printout of this, look at this, and that's going to allow me to transfer this exact image onto my surface. Now, for those of you that liked the inch measurement that we did last time on the pirate ship, I did include that map there as well, and you can just go grab that. Don't worry about it. Because I don't, you know, I like to give you everything. That's my whole thing. Like, how many things can I give you to make this easier? I can give you all the things. Right?
Mm-hmm.
All the things. And then more of the things, because the things are what is important. If I don't have my, I'm going to go ahead and do this. I think it will be sharp enough. You want to make sure that you've got a pretty sharp tool for the transfer. So, and you want it to be kind of a hard tip. I'm going to go ahead and use my glasses here. No, that was a pencil. Glasses. See why I need them?
Glasses aren't going to help what you were just having a problem with.
Now, the hardest part of this traceable will be the fairy, and I'm going to give you some traceable tips. In my long experience of using this methodology, I usually come inside with whatever I'm using to transfer the media, and I press inside the black line. I don't know if John can zoom in to sort of see how I'm doing that. And the reason that I do inside, not on the line, is this gives you a little room to sort of thicken up. One of the biggest problems you'll have as a beginner is maybe painting a fine line too thick, and this gives you some extra give. Does that make sense?
It does.
So I don't know if I've ever talked about that before, but this idea that I come in and I do the traceable just sort of inside. Now I'm not going to do every little hair because these are pretty easy for me to do, so I'm just going to do the little shape there. I'm really fond of her. Very, very, very much. You can kind of see I'm just being very careful on inside this because I just want to know about the thickness of things, and I don't want to over thicken because she's a very delicate rendering. I'm also not really going to draw out the whole skirt. I'm going to kind of come in, and that's just going to give me an idea of the size of the palm because I want my brush to make little wispy brush strokes. Inside the leg. Because pixies are pretty delicate creatures. Though, you should know, also quite dangerous and not to be messed with. Just because something's small does not mean it's not dangerous. Pixies are dangerous. Whoever put her in this jar better have her permission to do it because when she gets out, she's going to do something really interesting to them. I'm just coming on the outside of these lines, and I tried to make the jar lines as thick for you as possible. Now I'm going to hold this to the side because my paper is doing this crinkle things, and I don't want that. I think for me, the hardest part of this whole piece was the moon.
That makes sense.
Because I kept making it a not round shape. I don't know what was going on with me, but I was just having a day with that. I was like, man, this moon will never be round.
The moon isn't perfectly round. It's been hit by some big rocks. Made it a little wobbly.
Let's go with that. It has now.
It got a little wobbly over time.
Again, I'm not going to worry about the little grasses here. I might go ahead and give myself this little line. Now, if I got over that correctly, when I pull this away, what I will have is an image that's been transferred onto my surface.
The only time it's funny is when she puts the Sero paper on backwards.
That I really feel like I checked it this time, but now you've hexed me, and I don't know how to respond to that. Now I'm worried, John. I feel like I checked it and checked it and checked. Yay!
There's that moment of actual butterflies in her tummy going, oh no.
Could the worst have happened? Now, so there's some little dust off and some little messy bits there. So over to the side, sit my thing. So there's little messy bits, but that will clean up. Hello, babe. That will clean up with just a clean brush and a little bit of water. Just damp.
Yeah.
That is fresh squeezed. Fresh squeezed. I'm sorry, just really kind of a fan of fresh squeezed orange juice. It makes me super happy. It does. It's just num-nums. It does not. Concentrate's okay, but I just really love me the squeezed.
Yeah. The freshest of the squeezed.
The freshest of the squeeze. I want my squeezes so fresh. Fresh squeezes. Who's a goof? I'm a goof. Who's a goof? Me.
You were given a YouTube channel and you
used it.
Used it to
a whole bunch of times. I think there's 900 art lessons here.
Woo!
Okay. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to put in my cork. In the first layer of my cork, I'm going to take a little bit of my black into my brown. And I'm going to make this darker color. I'm going to come right here. We're going to start the cork this big. Now, this is a very large magical cork. The corks on the two bottle paintings match. I thought that would help them tie together. And I can't even say that we're done.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we've got Halloween coming up and all kinds of things. And Christmas. So I imagine things in bottles will continue. Things in bottles will continue. Super excited about it. And I love it. Now I'm just brushing this in. Notice that it's just very loosely brushed in. This is a number 6 Cambridge. And what's unique about this brush is that it is both boar hair and bristles. I guess it's bristles. And synthetic filament. So it doesn't get so soft and mushy when you use acrylic on it. Oh, that's a nice dark layer for the cork. Don't you feel?
I do.
I feel. Now, I wash this out, and I'm wiping this off with a towel. And I'm going to come and just get, it can have a little bit of the black in it, but I'm going to get a lot more of our brown. And I'm going to come here, and I'm going to make these little rough brush strokes. See these little rough brush strokes?
Little rough brush strokes.
Little rough brush strokes for you and me. I'm going to want the dark edge here and a little dark edge here. And the reason for that is it helps build up the shadow. And we want a shadow on our cork, don't we? I do. Getting a little more of my sienna, as you do. Now, I can come right into my yellow ochre and see, I don't rinse my brush out. I just pick up the pigment. That's going to help this cork stand out from the cork-colored background. Because it's got a cork-colored background. If you did not notice.
I did.
It's coming right in here. That's the yellow ochre. Oh, that's looking pretty corky. I actually like it better than the original. Because it's so corky. If you look at the brush strokes, it feels good. And it's okay to get a little more black and brown into it and make sure that this side is very well represented in its corkdom. You can come and shape things out. I can come on the edge of the brush. And you see, just dance along there. Dancing, dancing, dancing. Dancing, dancing, dancing. And I may dry it for a second and then give it a little more cork color.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. So, right. If you are checking out that links in the description down below. Right. So,
you know what you could talk about that for sure everybody knows about is that we're going to be at SpaCon and people can see us.
Ooh, the SpaCon.
That would have been better. I'm sorry. Maybe talk about the arcade.
No, SpaCon is good too. And that's coming up in September.
Yes, it is. And you can come and paint ATCs with me.
That's right. We're going to be there on the, let's see, we'll be there on September 19th and 20th. But we're going to be doing our own certification event there. But we're going to be at SpaCon on the 20th, I think. And that's where we're going to do a paint along where Cinema brings some ATC cards out. We'll have a booth there. We're going to be painting from 11 to 4, I think is what it is.
Yep.
That's right.
10.
On the 22nd. 22nd.
Yeah, there's spots. There's spots. Okay. Now, I do have to dry the cork again because I'm going to want to paint over it. We're going to be doing a similar thing, but I may not have to dry it with the hairdryer because when I did my nice little moon, little space here.
Yeah.
Right? When I did that, let me put out my blue. It has occurred to me I'm going to have to put my fairy back in. You know why? Because I got to paint her out for the moon, man.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, I'll show you how to deal with that. So sometimes my moon wouldn't look right if I was trying to paint fussily around all her little tiny bits. So I'm going to have to just accept that that's my reality. Right? Paint my moon in, paint my background in, get the jar in, and then using my traceable again, get her back in. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm going to take a little of my black and some of my blue, and I get them on my brush, and I'm going to go ahead and put some white onto here. Bye-bye, fairy. I did you well, but you're going to have to go. I could also just freehand her. But that won't help you guys when you're painting. So I'm just going to go right over this. Good practicing. I want the outer edges around this part of the moon to be lighter. You know, so it kind of looks like our moon. I did sort of use our moon as the model. So there's a lot more accuracy in this particular moon than I usually do. Usually I'm like, whatever. Moonish, moon-like, some moon somewhere in the galaxy, an infinite number of moons across a vast space. The moon could be like that. That's kind of what I went with. But now I'm going to try to go with this. You can see I'm just covering up my background. And this little setback won't hurt us, won't hurt you, won't hurt me at all. It'll be fine. So when that's in, what I can do is I can come in with a little of the black and blue, and I can start to make some of the shapes that you might see. And how I do this is I'm going to wiggle my brush on the corner of the brush. And I'm going to come make a little kind of rounded shape. Every once in a while I'll grab a little more pigment. These are the darker spots of the moon that come in the center. Look at that. Look how we're doing. A little more pigment.
So
wiggling.
That is the secret to what you're doing, the size of the pattern?
The secret when I'm doing the size of the pattern.
So Lindsay asked specifically, is it the size of the pattern on it that I need on the canvas, or is it the detail I need, or both?
Both. The size of your traceable needs to relate to the size of the canvas. So if you were to do a larger image, you'd have to go on a website like, say, Rasterbator. I know how that sounds, but that's what it's called. Someone here can give you a link to that, and it will help you enlarge it. If you were going to do it smaller, you'd want to reduce that size on the printout, and that's really all up about you and your printer, because you've got to get kind of that. If you want 1-to-1, you can just, you want to make sure that printouts, this is a 10 by 10, and you're going to want to make sure, and that's why I give you those maps, your moon should be 4 inches. If the moon on your traceable is 4 inches, you're matched to the 10 by 10. So sometimes I do that to help you guys get that output, because I know everybody's printer is different. And if you've got something simple like, okay, this circle just needs to be 4 inches, then you know the rest of your traceables. Okay. Does that make sense, babe?
It does.
I thought of them. I'm going to add a little spot there. And, sometimes the traceable is all you need just to see it to be like, oh, that's the basic shape, the contour of things.
Ah.
You know, I find sometimes when people see the traceable, they're like, oh wait, I got it now. A little more white. But that is, I think, the hardest thing about the traceables for us is that there isn't a kind of one size fits all, and everybody's printer is different. And I am not familiar with the different challenges of different printers. You see I'm putting a little bit of the lightness there to kind of talk about those little craters. Now we're coming up, we're soon to be beta testing with our patrons, and I think some of them are already in the process of doing that, an app that lets you use your cell phone to put the pattern on the canvas, the traceable on the canvas, and that will resize automatically for you through your viewfinder. It fixes a bunch of those problems.
Yep. Again,
the trick will be learning how to hold it and view it and get the image on there. There'll be some learning curve. I won't lie to you, but you won't have to print anything out anymore. And that'll be nice for you. I'm going to rinse this out. And I'm going to just use my phthalo blue and a little white. See, no black this time, so it's much brighter, isn't it? Phthalo blue is much brighter. And I'm going to begin to come around the moon in circular strokes, just hugging around it. And hopefully John can get on here real close so you can see, you know, how relaxed and chill you can. Your brush strokes are supposed to show here. You're okay. See how we're doing?
Yeah. Yeah, totally do it.
And we're just going to get circled all around with that color, which is a little of the white, into, you don't want to make it a light blue. Right? But you do want it to be lighter. This will be the lightest color in your night sky, so you wouldn't want it like middle of the day light. And then I'm going to just come get our pure blue and blend that all around. And everything in here is going to get painted with that. Because we didn't just capture her, we captured the night. See what we're saying? So all that will be blue. So yeah, that's an interesting question about what to do with traceables. How do you make them work? What's the important part about them? Well, I think the most important part of the traceable, John, is to help people get confidence so that they take on maybe a drawing class or two and go, oh, I can draw and paint. But it is not cheating. It is just a methodology. You cannot stress that enough. All right. So see how we're getting the darker blue in?
I do.
Just using the pure phthalo. And it's helping us paint in our jar, the beginnings of it. Anyways. Look at that. Now, and we can be real rough with our little strokes because we just want that glow around that part of the moon. Our butterflies and everything that we're seeing is going to be way more in the moon, so we're not as dependent on the circle around it for things to show, if that makes sense.
Does make sense.
I'm not doing a blend here like I sometimes do. I'm kind of doing that Van Gogh stroke almost, aren't I? Just curving around with a thick, rough stroke and allowing the interweaving of those to create the gradation. All right, I'm going to paint this in blue too. If we have any questions, this is a good time to do it because I can just paint the rest of the handle in blue.
Thank you for that, is what Lindsay said. That was pretty awesome.
Yay!
That did exactly what she was looking for.
Excellent. I am really glad to hear that.
And where do I get the soap?
Where do I get the soap? Well,
there's links. We'll put links. You can get it on the website and the shop.
It's in the website and it's also on Amazon. 2 places. But if you want the tubs with the loofah, you got to get it from our from our website, yeah?
We don't have them up there on Amazon yet.
So if you like the loofah tubs, and that's really what you want for your acrylic.
We just we got to get our supply chain going more. We're running low on stock for Amazon, so I've got to ship more up there, and we've just sold through a bunch of stuff is all.
Yeah, it's good soap. That's what it is, John. It's just good soap.
It is good soap. Thank you all for buying the soap. We appreciate it. It is very helpful.
It lasts a while, so don't panic on it. It's there
It allows us to make more soap, which is an endless cycle of soap fun right now.
Yes.
At some point when we have a stockpile of soap, we'll have to stop, but we're gonna keep churning the soap.
Well,
machine.
and I've been saying to John, like, I have some soap ideas.
Soap
which I won't say out loud.
Yeah.
Because I am no longer done like that. Okay.
What you doing
so that's there. I've been fighting this thing all day. I don't know what is up with my mic. I'm going to sip my orange juice and take that in. That looks good.
Juice?
Mm-hmm.
That's my cup she stole, by the way. See that cup?
It is not your cup. It's never been your cup. I won it fair and square. You weren't even there. He wasn't even there. Okay. I had to bounce a quarter off of a table into a fish tank into a shot glass. It is my misspent youth that allowed me to do that. And this is my glass. And just that you love tikis doesn't make all tikis your tiki. Marriage. Please don't write a serious treatise about marriage and how we need to get along. We are kidding. Please. Please.
It really is my
Somebody
cup.
has to read it, so just don't do it.
Don't worry. It really is my cup. You don't need to worry about it.
It is not your cup, and it will never be your cup. Okay. So I'm going to make a little I'm using this charcoal. This is, not charcoal, chalk that you might find in a set for kids. And I'm going to bring a little ellipse down here. And I'm going to come back here and bring another little ellipse. And it sort of goes off the front. And this is just, we're talking about our shadow. This is, we're going to kind of glaze and darken this little space here a bit. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit of brown and black together. And let's come under here. Right? And I'm going to just brush that out. See how I'm doing?
Yeah.
We're just giving a little bit of shadow. It just needs a little shadow. If I need a little more water, I'll get a little more water. And, I can just bring the little, but everyone's like, how many of those do you get written? Enough that I got to say something. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
The shadows. That really
I'm
anchors
darkening that shadow right here.
Yeah, it really anchors it there on the surface.
It does, and it just makes sure that your objects look like they were placed. And if you get it clipped too narrowly, you can always just come back, right, with a little bit of your burnt sienna and trim it back. So don't feel like you have anything that you can't fix, correct, alter, or change.
So you just going width by feel.
Yeah.
So
what are you asking?
How wide you're making that shadow?
So I'm coming out probably about a 1/2 inch on each side. And my goal is just to make a nice curved little implied ellipse. So the ellipse comes back here, comes around and goes around. Comes around and goes around. So my mind's eye takes it back here and then circles it.
Gotcha.
That's what's happening in my brain.
I see.
Yeah?
I do.
Somebody needs to, because I got no idea what's going on. All right. I'm going to get a small bright. I think this might be a very good beginning. Let's see how this goes. This is a number 6 ruby satin. And I'm going to get black paint on my brush for a moment. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come across here to make the top of the jar. Making the thick rolled glass part of the jar. You see how I went across there?
Yeah.
I'm using the brush. Then I'm going to come down, over, down. Literally with almost a black outline, guys.
Yeah.
Then here at the bottom, I'm going to brush it a little bit thicker But it's a dry brush, so some of the blue will show through. Then there's a bit of black here that comes on the side of the jar. And I love what happens on the handle because it has this wonderful little U curve. So some of the glass is dark, but not all of the glass is dark. See a little U? That's how I get it. Just make a little U. And around here. Wonderful. A little more black paint. Let's bring this down. Oof. Hot day, babe. And I'm going to come here to the neck. And see how I'm curving this? I'm going to thicken this darkness right here. And I'm also going to thicken it right there a little bit. And I'm going to bring in the curve line and the curve line. But they're like broken. See how I sort of bring them in?
I do.
And then you can even bring a little in like this. Thicken this some, but it's almost a dry brush and some blue shows through. Oh, there we go. That dark value helps the rest of it happen. Once I have the dark value, I can come back with a little bit of white and blue, which kind of lets the blue show. And I can come back and add a little reflection. A little more white and blue. Right there. I pulled one there. We need one right down here. It curves a little bit that way, but the black is still showing around it. And then maybe at the base, a little more white. That got a little bit dark there. Curving that right here. So what stroke? An angled stroke and then stroke across. You can handle that.
Yeah.
Totally handle that. I'm going to come through here. And I'm just coming down the glass and see it's real rough. A little bit right there. Add a little bit of that highlight reflection there. Right here. And this can be fun here. A little bit. You don't want too much.
Not too much fun.
Not too much of that blue fun. No, no.
You're
Gonna get my black again and
end up losing your hair dryer if you have too much blue fun.
Too much fun, yeah. Some blue and just there we go. I'm just taking some blue and deepening some areas so it's just the blue, because when you layer the phthalo blue on itself, what does it do? It just gets darker. And come here and make a nice little shadow there. And there can be a little blue on top of that. Now, a very nice bunch of little grasses needs to go here.
All right.
I think the number 4 round will make some nice grass. So I'm going to make some nice grass, as you can. While I'm here, I'm going to thin this paint with water. I'm going to take this, I'm going to swirl this around.
It won't explode.
It won't explode. All right. And I'm not going to take away my reflection. I'm just going to come into the black there, and I'm going to make a little bit of grass. And it'll be all around here. It'll be lowest under the moon. I want to leave lots of room for her little feet. So I'm going to be delicate here. And I'm leaving lots of little room for her tiny, tiny feet. Fun grasses. Some of your grasses can go up over the moon. Most part, you're just trying to show some of those there. So now we have some little grasses coming up. Rinse out. I'm going to go ahead and take some of this white that I've got here. And let's put a little reflection there. I'm going to make a line. I like to break it. What I mean is that I don't make it solid across because sometimes glass is like that. I think I had too much black still in here, so I'm going to rinse that out and dry it out. Reflection right there. Reflection right there. A couple of them on the shoulder. There we go. That's a nice one. You're like, you take these super serious. Yes, I do.
Serious reflection.
Well, it's where the glass happens. I'm going to come underneath that and add one. And then in the darkest part of the black, I'll add a couple. But I'm going to break that line. Love it when I break the line. Actually, I think I'm nailing them even better this time.
I like it.
Shouldn't have said anything. No, I'm just kidding. I'm fine.
I do like it.
So, break that line. Little glass reflection there. Hot reflection inside that part of the jar. Almost like a T reflection here. Comma in that. Little break there. All right, those are nice. Break there. How about one right there? There we go. So we've got those in.
Now you have to put the fairy and some friends in.
Now I have to put the fairy and some stars in, and I gotta fix that moon.
What's wrong with the moon?
Oh, wonkety.
I like the moon.
I like the moon too, but I would like it to be round. And I over trimmed into it. That's all I'm saying. And it would be noticeable when she was in it, and so I'm fixing it. It's always okay to make adjustments on your painting. It's always fine. We're literally nearly done.
I can see.
All right. Now, we're going to dry this for a second because we've got to do some stars and some dots, and then we'll get our silhouette back in.
Okay. So, while she's doing that, don't forget, check out link in the description down below for things like traceables, the link to our website. You'll find out more information about SpaCon. Definitely SpaCon. That's going to be cool.
Shaking it up. So I'm going to take this, which is the Deco White, and I'm going to use a detail brush. I think I will go for this monogrammed liner. And the first thing that I'm going to do is come here. And right about here, I'm going to make a dot. That first one. And I'm going to twinkle my dot, which is to create little lines around it to imply the twinkling flare of stars. John has explained many times as a telescope effect.
Oh, well. Yeah,
but
little,
also what you use when you need to wish on a star.
Yeah, those little diffraction
And this is the
lines.
first star. This is the first star on till morning. So, yep. Only way you're going to get to Neverland, you need this guiding star.
Originally, those cool little lines were caused by Newtonian telescope that took pictures, and those were the little vanes that held the reflecting mirror up in top of the telescope.
This is a dotting tool. It comes in my little Galaxy set, but guys, guess what? If you're really stuck, you can use the back of a brush or a toothpick. Don't panic. It's all good. You can always find a way. And I will be so cool with that. Never upsets me.
You have starred it.
So I have starred those. I'm going to dry that again so I can put the traceable on there, and we'll get her back on. And then we'll see how that's going to go.
Let's go. So we're going to see how this goes. I know she's going to end up being done a lot faster than I'll come up with something to say. So I saw the questions that I'm going to go over here and check to see what's going on. Good questions. I will get that. All right.
I mean, you could just have a moon too. We're done. We're good. Let's go. No.
Question. What is the measurement for the top above the cork? How much space do you have up there?
It is in the map. I don't have it right here.
Oh, okay.
I don't know
You
it.
got it on there.
And I put a map up on the page, so you just go to the web page.
Oh.
And there's a graphic with inch measurements. I didn't convert them to centimeters. I'm sorry about what the spaces are between everything.
Nice.
Unless somehow you're asking because I did not do that correctly.
No, you're good.
Okay.
I just don't. I think there was just.
So what I'm doing when you see me pull my finger like this is I'm checking for the side that gets dusty so I know what side is going to give me the results I want. And I'm turning it so that I'm not tracing over the exact same spot I did earlier. Right? Because I want all of the white dustiness that I could possibly get from this.
Right.
All of it. How much do I want? All of it. Pull back here again. I'm going to do this differently.
You have to align it a little.
I'm going to line this up first and then put my paper down. So 4-inch moon. I just got to get her over the moon. She's over the moon, man.
So you have to peel one of those pieces of tape up and slip that in there.
Then, yeah.
Make sure you put the right side down.
I will. Because that's the side that's dusty. There we go. Now these are lined up better. Ah, this is how it is. I'll do purple this time. But I will do glasses again. Where did my glasses go? They're there.
Don't know.
That's so funny when you can't find your glasses because you're not wearing your glasses.
The
ironing is almost too much. So again, same thing.
Just a little inside the lines.
Just a little bit. So when I come back with my black paint, I have a little give. Hard to fix too much black paint. Pretty easy to add. So I have come to this strategy. All right. Hopefully she's going to show up enough on the moon. If you have both the yellow and the white Ceril paper, you might want to switch to yellow over the moon. I just had the white out, so. And you might only have the one.
Isn't there like red and blue too?
Yeah, I have a really impossible time getting the red and blue up from stuff, so I don't use it as often, is what happened to me. Wish me luck. Oh, good. She's there. She's there, she's there, she's there, she's there. So I have enough there to be able to do her. With very little difficulty. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. As you do. Somebody does. I'm going to use this fluid paint just because it's going to be easier to paint little fine lines. And I'm going to go ahead and use my monogram liner. I'll start at the head and neck. And you can see how easy it is to get things much bigger real quick. I really love this brush. Very much.
It allows you to do the thing.
It really does allow me to do all the things. You can see I made a little hand there. I love making little hands. Little lobster claw hands is super fun for me. So again, easy to add black, hard to take it away. Watch for little drops on your brush. They come and they mess with you. What happens is if you do a deep swish, a drop will be up the wood and it collects and it collects and it comes down your painting and goes on your painting. I don't know if you've ever had the on your painting, but it's happened to me before, so I'm just warning you. I thicken the upper part of the palm. And then I give it a little thumb. And that'll read as a tiny little pixie hand. Yay, tiny little pixie hand. How are you? I'm not going to do her dress with this tiny little brush. I want something that's going to make it a little bit more. There we go, making sure I get the nice thickness on the calf. This is probably the hardest part of this whole thing.
Yeah.
But can I tell y'all a hack?
What's that?
You could also get a stencil, buy online a stencil of a fairy that you really like.
Ooh, not a bad idea.
And use a stencil because sometimes you can get a delicate result from a stencil when you can't get one from a traceable.
That makes sense.
So if something is super important to you, and you've got to remember that almost all things, certainly fairies do, they'll have stencils out there. Tons of them. There we go. One little leg, pixie leg. What do we need now? Another little pixie leg. There we go. So it's important to have at least one fantastic detail brush in your life. All the red handle ArtSherpa brushes are great detail brushes. This is a great detail brush. You really do want to have a great detail brush in your life.
That's really fine detail work.
It is, isn't it? Well, she's got little feet now. And while I'm down here, I might as well do some butterflies.
Oh, yeah.
Do a little butterfly shaped wing. I like to do little butterflies of different sizes with her, because it implies that there's a whole little colony of stuff afoot. And I do them at different little angles. There's big ones and small ones and close ones and ones that are facing you in an obvious butterfly way. Maybe ones that are You know, maybe in a like very foreshortened perspective. Very obvious faraway butterfly. And you can just put as many in there as make you happy. You'd also make dragonflies. All good. Now I'm going to come up to the hair. This is going to be some important work here. So get that little pixie hair. Kind of like curly and going up like it's on fire. And I just work that outside edge, you know? Because I can come fill her in with a bigger brush. But you got to work this outside edge. For sure I can finish her with my number 4. Probably could have painted her with my number 4. But it is nice to be able to piece those little bits out. So now she's wild, isn't she? I take my number 4 and can load it back up in the paint. And I can very carefully fill in the remainder of the silhouette. There she is. And then I can even have some fun on her little tutu area.
That's so nice. I really like how that little dress is coming together.
That's fun. Now her wings are a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take yellow ochre is, you know, generally on its own a pretty transparent paint. I'm going to get a smidge of the black. And I'm going to come in and do what's called glazing. And what that really means is I haven't thinned the paint beyond its binding point with water. You don't want to thin it with water. You want to use a transparent paint. You could use the golden glazing medium I use all the time for blending if you had a paint that was too opaque, but because you want it to really show through the moon and everything underneath. See how you can kind of barely, kind of almost see those wings there?
Yeah. I just moved over there a little.
Now I'm gonna.
I just moved over there a little bit more so I could see that yellow
Okay.
you mixed.
Very good. I'm gonna take my black. Nope, that's white. That would have been a different painting. Not that different of a painting, but it would have been a different direction to go. Make a very barely there outline around these little wings. Barely there. And I'm going to come in and create felt. So if you ever observe insect wings, they have a circulation system through them so that they can inflate them or make them more ready for flight. And you can use that knowledge to create a sense of things being more real. Kind of like a little paperclip shape.
That makes sense.
And once I have that, right, I'm super, super happy with what I've got there. Very nicely in. I'm going to get some white. Put some dots. That's like for little sparkles and things. And come into some of the cells. See how I come in like a little bit of cell? Look at that. Now she's got a little shiny reflection on her wing, doesn't she? I always like add little dots. Wing. Lots of little things to bring it into bear. Now, I'm going to dry this really, really good.
All right.
So that I can clean it.
So you can clean it. I think she's got to get all the little chalky marks and all that other kind of stuff off there. Oh, yeah. See, there's little cereal paper marks and stuff like that. So she just wants to make sure we get all that off. And you have to get it dry before you wet something to wipe them off. The cereal paper, right? You want to get the cereal marks off.
So every once in a while, you're going to see me take a deep breath. I'm going to remind you of this all the time. It's very easy to get in the habit of holding your breath when you're new to painting. Actually, it's just easy to get in the habit of holding your breath in life. So always make a moment to breathe and relax your body. It will help steady your hand and improve your line result when you're trying to get finer lines. Whatever you are struggling with at this stage of your painting, I really, really want to assure you that if you practice and are determined, you will resolve it.
Yeah.
But rather than really stressing on the things that you're worried that you didn't do well, I want you to find a couple things that you did really well. No matter what's going on in your painting, no matter how frustrated you are, you may need to take a break and come back to it. But try to find 1, 2 things in your painting that you did good, because you can always build from a success. All right, boom, boom, boom. Let's give a signature, shall we?
Yeah.
I'm going to take my monogram liner and my little thin paint. I think I'll come here to the outside of my shadow. You'll have to tell me in the comments what we should put in the next jar. What kind of jar? What kind of scene should it be? What should we have going on there? We don't know. Let me go for a bit. All right, there we go. So let's look at this, and then we can see some
other ones that kind of matched. Yeah, I like those two. They went together. I like those. Those. I think we need to do another bottle.
Don't you think there needs to be another bottle?
More bottles.
Maybe more bottles. I mean, there's the obvious Peter Pan. That's obvious now at this point.
You could put a crocodile in a jar.
We could. We've got them coming up for Halloween. So just spitball your ideas. I really listen to everybody in my community. I'm doing this for you. So stuff that you guys are excited about painting, that's what's exciting to me. And sometimes it's not even the most voices and the most votes. Sometimes it's somebody who's just really enthusiastic and an idea is really meaningful to them and it sparks something in me. So you never, ever know. You will, however, totally influence me. Be good to yourself. Be good to each other. Sweet dreams. And I want to see you at an easel really soon. Bye-bye.